Hey everybody, Shawn Clement here from the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center. No, this is not a medical program. This is our new partner here at the Golf Learning Center, Scully. So this has been instrumental in the last few weeks on helping our students understand how the human body works so they can stop going against what it does naturally, okay? So for all those of you who are, trying to have the upper body resist against the lower body, you're gonna see a few things here that are gonna help your perception out tremendously. So if we look at the structural integrity of the human body here, I'm gonna turn it sideways. You have a pelvis, which is fused to the lower spine here through the sacrum, the bottom of the spine. And the spine moves up and then fuses itself to the rib cage. Now, if you understand that each vertebrae only has 1 degree or less of mobility, so the spine is not designed to twist, okay? So you can safely say that the pelvis and the rib cage turn together in the golf swing. Well, what are they turning around? Well, notice how the hips underneath, how they're designed. So you got the ball of the hips here. We have this giant turntable, very tall one, sitting on top of the hip joints. So instead of 1 pivot point on this turntable, you have 2 pivot points that are rotating with the pelvis, okay? So the pelvis turns and the hips are facilitating this turn, okay, allowing it to happen. And obviously, because it's a domino effect, you got your knees, which basically don't go side to side. So the knees have to rotate with the hips. And then you'll notice the ankles have to rotate from there. And you notice how, if you look at how the foot is designed, you see how the arch is designed right here. So the feet are actually excellent at rolling to the inside. And that you want to let that happen during the swing. Okay? So the pelvis and the rib cage, you want them to stay stacked on top of each other up against the left side, all right? So if we look at a chip shot, you notice there's a slight tilt in the spine. If you over tilt, you'll tend to hit the ground before the ball and top it, or you'll tend to hit it to the right, okay? Thin to the right. So we want to make sure that the spine is braced against the left side, and then we just keep the pressure against the left hip back and through. So all we do is we allow the hips to rotate underneath this centered portion of the pelvis. All right? If I allow the hips to slide, well then the lower spine will tend to slide out from underneath you, and this will cause the upper spine to tilt forward, and off you go with deep divots to the left, pulling the shots and slicing the shots. Okay? So we want to keep this nice and stacked against that left side. All right? Now from there, if you go into the full swing, that fuller range of motion with the arms staying out in front of you will attract more weight to the right side, but you don't want the hips to slide. You will get a natural shift to the right side without relinquishing this pressure on that left side. Okay? Then from there, everything returns back and through the shot. So we want a very steady arc in the swing. So if you swing the club back and through without stopping, you notice my swing plane video, and in my DVD you'll see that perpetual motion drill. So the club just swings back and through without stopping, and you let gravity track the arc for you. All right? So you'll see how handy this comes in a little later on in this video. So the shoulders, which sit on top of the rib cage, well, they only have 20 degrees of mobility. So if I don't move my lower spine, my hips, and I resist in the hips, well, then the pelvis can't turn. Well, guess what? If the pelvis can't turn, the rib cage can't turn either. Now, that means that your upper arms, your arms here, are just going to go right up against your chest. And guess what? Your left shoulder, if you're a right-handed player, is going to take quite the beating, and your rotator cuff will get, strained, all right, if it hasn't been done already. And because you're trying to turn the upper rib cage against the pelvis, well, now your vertebrae are starting to strain as well. So if you got some, back issues, that's the last thing you want to do. So you want to allow that body to turn on top of this beautiful swiveling turntable, which are the pelvis and the hips, okay? Now that we open this up, well, the arms can now stay in front of my body. It's not perfectly in front, and you're not trying to manipulate your arms to stay in front. If you swing the club back and through without stopping, you'll notice right now that the arms are being taken care of by gravity, and you'll notice that they're not crashing against the body. There's none of this going on, okay? No jerkiness. So if you swing the club back and through without stopping, you feel some jerkiness, it's because your body isn't moving. And it'll swivel from down here from where the hips are, all right? So now that we have this nice consistent arc, there's two ways you can go about it. Brace against the left and stay against the left, or if you allow that left hip, the left heel to come off the ground, well, hopefully it's not because you slid into the backswing, it's because you had more range of motion, a la Bubba Watson, right? So as you turn, that heel comes off the ground. Before you start down, you better secure that heel back to the ground so that your whole downswing is a one-legged shot. If you go to the one-leg video, remember this? Okay, so you'll see exactly how that works. And then you go to the one-leg part 2, and you'll see how when we bring that other foot down and we still pretend we're on one leg, you'll see how that works in the swing as well. Or, if you allow that heel to come off the ground, you got to bring it back down in the same way I demonstrate in the downswing video series, okay? So have a look at downswing video if you're a guy or a gal that lifts the heel, and it shows you exactly how to bring the pressure back to the left side before the downswing so that the downswing arc is extremely steady. You don't want to swing the arms and then get pulled around like a rag doll. Then you have to react to that out of balance condition, and nothing consistent is going to come out of that, okay? So you want that consistent, gliding, centered movement.